Good day, students. Today we're going to cover how to install Revit 2021. Okay, the first thing you need to do is you'll need to go to your browser and you're going to search Autodesk Virtual Agent. Okay, you're going to go to this avaautodesk.com. Okay, you don't want to go and do this on the Autodesk webpage itself. So let me show you this. If you go to the Autodesk webpage itself and you go to Students and Educators, you can download it from here, but it doesn't work as well. I find that this part of it's very glitchy currently. So I wouldn't download it from this section. I would use this alternative that I'm showing you now, just because some of you might get it to work from here. If you say get product and you go and find the Autodesk part, the Revit section over here, and you try and download it, I just find that it doesn't give you the complete sections. Okay, so the installation folders is divided into 6 categories. So part 1 of 6 or part 1 of 7. Okay, so we're going to go to Autodesk Virtual Agent. Okay, and it's going to ask you, what do you want to do? So you're going to say download Revit 2021. Okay, so it's going to ask you a couple of questions. This does take a bit of time, so give this a couple seconds. Okay, just on this page, you will see that if you go and let's go back one, my apologies. Let's just see, here we go. Okay, so here it's asking us want to download, so you're just going to say download, just say start. Okay, now it's going to ask you a bunch of questions at the bottom here. It's going to ask you to sign in, so sign in with your details. Okay, so once you've got an account, which you should have already, so this should be fine. Okay, so once it's verified who you are, you can just say, I'm a student or educator, okay? And you're going to say, this computer. And you're going to say, I tried, but it was an error. The reason why we do this on this site itself, if we go to Revit over here, let me just show you what happens. It's going to ask you to sign in, so let's do that again. I wish it had an option to say, keep me signed in. Okay. So just remember, we individuals, so it's an individual, and you're going to go to get products over here. Okay. When you use this option, just make sure that you're downloading 2021. Trust me, you don't want to download 2022 just yet. You've got these two options here, install and download. The install option or download, the download option doesn't work. And if you leave the install option, some of you, if you've got a good internet connection, go ahead and use the install option. But if you don't have a good internet connection and it's a bit unstable, you're going to use this AVA Autodesk Virtual Agent. Okay, and you're going to use this option. I've tried, but there were some errors. Okay, so yes, don't worry about that because you always get you're always going to get access to the serial number, so that's fine. And now you can see there are 6 parts that you need to download. So you're going to say this computer, you're going to make sure that everything is English, and you're going to download these 6 parts. Okay. All right, you're going to start part 1, and you can see as you start clicking, it's asking you where to save. So you're going to download all 6 parts. And once they've all downloaded, you need to make sure that it's telling you that it's 001 of 006, for example. But I'll show you the completed download option. So you're going to pick the location where it needs to download. Once everything's downloaded, okay, I've put everything in, so it will look like these 6 parts over here. Then all you've got to do is you just double click, and now you need to specify where you need to install this extraction. If you've got a D drive, I would recommend changing it to my D drive. It's exactly what I've done. So here's my D drive and here's my Autodesk folder. So that's exactly what I would do. All it will do now is it'll unpackage all 6 parts and make a Revit 2021 folder and then automatically run the setup. So let us do that. So it's going to self-extract. Yes, it's going to replace everything on my machine, so that's fine. So we'll let this run for a bit. Okay, I might pause this as it happens, so that when we restart the video again, this should almost be done, and I'll show you exactly where it's installed this information. Okay. Okay, so the extraction process takes about 5 to 10 minutes. As you can see, it's quite a large data set that it has to extract. Okay, so it's extracting all this information. So in my case, it lives in my D drive, this Autodesk folder. So if you ever need to reinstall the software, you can go back to this Autodesk folder and uninstall. So usually this sits on your C drive. Okay, I just find it is here already. There are 2 applications here already. But generally, from the larger bits of software, I move to my D drive just because these do get quite large. Okay, you can see the Revit 2021 is busy populating this folder. Once it's fully extracted, it should automatically run the installation part of the extracted information. So we'll give this a couple more minutes, and then once this is fully extracted, it should then just start running the installation automatically. If it does not, you can go to the Revit 2021 folder and you can see there's a setup file here already. So you can literally just run and click this file. The reason why it packages all this information on your machine is so that in the event that something goes wrong, you can easily fix your version of Revit. Okay, that is quite common, especially if Windows has done a major update and your machine doesn't want to work that well after an update, for example. You'll find that some of these, the installation part of the software gets corrupted and you'll need to reinstall Revit. So you can run it from here and it will reinstall Revit for you. Okay, but we're almost done, so I'm just going to give this another minute or so. Okay, so this is nearing completion, and you'll see once it's fully extracted, it should just automatically run the installation part. It is a very large package, or package of informational data sets, so this does take a bit of time, and if you've got a conventional hard drive, it will take a bit longer. Okay, so once it's fully extracted, you can close. You don't have to worry about where you are, and you'll notice now that it's running the Revit 2021 installation on its own. Okay, if this doesn't open, you can literally go to that Autodesk folder and run it from there. Okay, so this is, once again, this does take a bit of time because as I mentioned earlier, this is quite a bit of data that we're working with. So the installation part now, there are some critical things that we need to select during the installation to make sure that we get all the correct libraries and we get the right templates to work with. Just remember, our standards are based on UK standards. A lot of our standards are. So let's quickly go step by step and see how to install Revit incorrectly. Okay, the first thing, you're just going to say yes. So my apologies, how to install Revit correctly. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to pull these down and make sure everything's going to the right path. We don't have to change too much. Project paths, usually I change that to I usually save this information on my D drive, and I just make a folder. You don't want it going in your documents the whole time. I don't like the fact that it uses my documents. So I use my D drive, and I've got an Inkscape folder that I'll use for myself, for example. But I'm happy with that location for now. It just means that I know where it's going to be. And here you can specify if you want a Revit shortcut on your desktop, which you'll have. Okay, now you're going to click. So now with this core elements that we're going to look at, we don't want the US base at all. We only want the UK. Okay, additional languages. So maybe we'll need to see and have a look at that. But for now, I'm happy with the UK based families. And if we want to download more of these, it's telling you to go to www.autodesk.com Revit content 2021, but we can go and have a look at that a bit later. You want to make sure that the Autodesk Material Library is installed and the large library set. So these two library sets we need to install. I'm happy with all of this information. That's great. So now I can simply just say install. This will take approximately another 5 to 10 minutes. So I will show you the final process once we get closer to that. Okay, once it's all installed, it should give you this complete list that it's installed. Now, one thing to check before you continue, you might have to go and download some additional data. So let's just open up Revit very quickly. Okay, it's going to ask you to sign in. It won't if your Autodesk app is signed in at the bottom. So if your Autodesk app is signed in, it should automatically assign a license to your Revit that you've just installed. If not, like we did in Autodesk, just make sure that you've registered to get the Autodesk bit of software. Okay, that we'll tackle in a minute. So if it says you're not licensed to use it, I'll explain very briefly how you would go and activate your Revit 2021 license. Okay. Right, so it looks like everything's working. Let me just open up Revit very quickly. Okay, once in Revit, there's some things that we just need to double check and make sure that it's installed correctly. So the first thing is if we go to File, New, and you're going to create a new family, it should take you to the family templates. You can get rid of all this other stuff because all we're actually interested in is the English library. And here you can see here's all the metric information. So this is very important if you want to use Revit. These libraries you will need. Okay, so this is looking great. So my English library, everything's here that I can use. So if I want to create new families, I've got the templates to drive to make my new families. Okay, so that's all correct. Now I'm going to go and say insert. So let me just go to any view. Let's go to a drafting view maybe, just for this exercise. Okay, I don't think, oh yeah, drafting view. No, there's no drafting view. So let's just go to architecture. I want to get a view and I want to make a new drafting view. So drafting view, just going to give it, doesn't matter what name I give it. So this is like we're working in AutoCAD. The reason why I'm showing you this drafting view is because if I want to insert some components, some 2D components, so if you go to annotation and you go to components, we can go and have a look at basic library components. And let's go to load family. Okay, so now it's asking me to load a family. If we go back to libraries and we go to English, UK, here's what we're looking for. Okay, so you want to go to the UK library. The rest of the stuff we can delete once it's installed, or you can go to the English library. Okay. Okay, but generally I use the UK library. Now this is where it gets important. If your libraries are missing, this is where we need to go and download some more. So let's just go to libraries and we're going to open up the UK library. So here you're going to get a whole lot of windows. So it comes with a basic set, a basic library. So in detail items section, you're going to get all of these little libraries as well. This is important. This library is very important because what is neat here, we can go and get a whole lot of little fixtures and finishes, fixing adhesives, and here you can get all these little details if you want to draft open. And now you can see I can bring in a screw, for example, 1-to-1. Okay, so here you're going to have a lot of this information already, which is what you want, because if you want to create some details, you need this information. So my version of Revit has installed correctly, so I'm very happy with this result. Okay, so everything's working fine. Okay, so I think this will cover the tutorial on how to install Revit. Okay, just note, if you don't have a license yet, so let's go to manage license. This will tell me how long my license is valid for. Okay, so up until October, Sunday, October 24th, I can go and I can extend this license. Okay, so that's not really, I'm not concerned about that at all. Okay, so let's just go and have a look and see where to go and get this license. Okay, so you're going to simply go back to the Autodesk website, autodesk.com. Okay, so you're going to go to autodesk.com, you're going to scroll right down to students and educators. Okay, students, you're just going to go to your section. I'm going to go to the education section, obviously, but it looks exactly the same. You're going to say get product. and you'll have to sign in. Okay, so here I'm just going to say sign in very quickly. Okay, once you signed in, you'll just need to go to, you might have to press F5. This does happen. I can see it's still loading. There we go. So when you click on Get Product, it will automatically assign and make sure Revit 2021. Here you can just say, you can click on the install key. Okay, you can just say, yes, I accept these terms because it's going to assign a new license to you. Okay, and all you're going to do is you're going to press cancel. If you've used the other method by which we've downloaded all parts, you're going to press cancel, because straight away it would have sent you an email saying that you have got this product installed, okay, or you will be assigned a license for this product. So I can close that for now. If I go back to my Autodesk over here, I'm not going to get that for now. I'm just going to go to Revit, and you can see Revit 2021, and here you can go and download all the hot fixes, and you can see there's a lot of updates ready for this version. Okay, so the reason why I don't want you to install Revit 2022 is just because of this issue here. They're very buggy, so you'll have a lot of issues for the first 2 months using the software, just because they pre-release it for the year so that they can iron out all the bugs. Okay, so that's why you can see there's a lot of different updates that we can run here. So once it's installed, you can then go and run all of these updates. I'm not going to install the updates for now because sometimes it will cause issues regarding the ribbons, etc. And you might find it won't work between files. So that's up to you. I'm going to leave it mine as standard for now. Okay, so this is where you can go and check your license, and it'll add it to the list. So if you've signed into this Autodesk, you can go and see all the products that you're currently using. I've got quite a lot because I use quite a bit of the software, but we're only after the Revit section for now. Okay, so that's a step-by-step guide how you would go about installing Revit. Okay.